we're proud of what we've done and what we do.
Metallica are the biggest heavy metal band in the world. Over the course of their 25-year career, they sold over 90 million albums, won Grammy Awards, and toured the world dozens of times. They've survived death, alcohol addiction, on-stage accidents, lineup changes, and endless accusations of selling out to become a genuine musical phenomenon.
They took something that was like on the extreme of rock music and put it right into the mainstream.
They're up there with the giants Maiden, Priest, Sabbath, Motorhead. In fact, in terms of American metal, they may be number one.
Metallica's great strength is their live show. They are, and they've always been, one of the finest live bands you'll ever see.
We write for ourselves.
I do think that deep within the nucleus of what we do, it's not really that different than it used to be.
Metallica, you know, we retain like the metal part of it always. It always is heavy.
It's about anything you really want it to be.
Nothing is real but pain now. Oh, my breath inside this hotel. Oh, please, God, wait
The Metallica of today is a far different beast to the one which first stepped on stage in Los Angeles back in March 1982.
They took a bunch of different bands and like basically threw them in a blender and sped it up. So for me, it was like a lot of stuff they did was almost familiar.
Just the over-the-top craziness. I mean, they were playing the kind of music nobody really had done too much before. I mean, there's Motorhead and, you know, Venom and stuff like that.
But it was sped up with, you know, attitude and everything else with it, you know. No one else was doing that at the time.
The teenage band started out by playing covers of British bands such as Diamond Head, Sweet Savage, Venom, and Blitzkrieg, who were making waves at the time as part of a new movement in music called the New Wave of British Heavy Metal.
You wouldn't have thought that these bands from Newcastle and these working men's clubs in the north of England would have had a profound impact on these American bands, but they really did. It's because the music was so fast and so heavy compared to the music which had gone before it.
More than anything else, it was a new wave of British heavy metal that inspired them. A, because Lars Ulrich himself really got into the whole new wave of British heavy metal ethos to the point of coming over to England and following bands around and sleeping on their floors. And B, because they were excited by the energy and dynamism and DIY attitude of Nawabum as it was.
drummer, Lars Ulrich, somehow managed to get himself onto a metal compilation album, even though he couldn't play drums and didn't even have a band. So he advertised to get a band together, and of course the ads got answered, and he put the band together, and that's how they basically formed the band.
The first track that got noticed by people, Hit the Lights, which appeared on the very first Metal Massacre compilation album put out by Metal Blade. At the time when that happened, there wasn't really a Metallica lineup, but Lars had got to know the guy who ran Metal Blade, Brian Slagle, and he just said, look, if you can get a lineup together and go in the studio and do a song, I'll put it on this record, which represented what was going on in the Bay Area and in America, particularly on the underground metal scene at the time. So that was really the birth of Metallica.
I think they put an ad out that they were looking for a guitar player, and I think Dave responded to the ad. And, and Dave saw that they were influenced by new wave of British heavy metal, so I believe that's how they got together.